Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's YouTube channel. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can find us on Facebook and stay up to date on our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for podcasts, hosts, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be on the spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's weekly podcast series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time, please click subscribe, like, share, comment, and don't forget to follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today, we are going to discover SAF, Self-Awareness Formulas, a passionate advocate for holistic wellness and a transformative power of self-awareness. As a steward of the family business at Life Energy Publications, he is dedicated to advancing holistic wellness and trauma processing. In his role as the founder of the online training school, modernholisticalchemy.com, he's pioneering a new era in wellness education. His expertise spans diverse topics, from delving into the intricacies of infrared and wellness to bridging Eastern and Western holistic sciences. His insightful discussions cover wellness transformation through knowledge, the profound connection between human electricity and well-being, and the transformative journey of using experiences and trauma to cultivate love, power, strength, compassion, communication, mental alertness, and spiritual discipline. Let's welcome to the first time to the seance, Nic Scogna. Welcome, Nic.
Hey, all right. How we doing, Paul?
Pretty good. So SAF, meaning self-awareness formulas. Let's take us back in time. How, I know now, but how was this developed and what is it?
That is a good question, and it does take us back to the mid-'70s. It was a creation of my dad's in his search for a method to, in his words, answer all questions. And for him, it was a very specific thing, medical. He had some maladies that he wanted to find out about. He went to the doctor. He couldn't get an answer from the doctor. The doctor didn't know. He'd give him a very cursory checkup, and he'd still say, "I have these issues, and what's going on?" And the doctor said, "I don't know. I can't help you." Wow. So he set out to find a method that would allow him to delve into his symptoms. And so initially, it was symptom awareness formulas, and a lot of it is based on the symptoms that are showing in the person or that the person is aware of. We use self-awareness formulas because it's a little bit more universal, but initially it was symptom awareness formulas and then survival awareness formulas, kind of anything that starts with S in that regard. But he created this system through math and his understandings in physics and physiology and his interests in Eastern and Western philosophy and medicine and nutrition, to bring it all together to create some method, some way to peer into the person's many layers. We consider it fully holistic in that it delves into the spiritual, the mental, emotional, the physical. And through doing that, through a simple subjective questionnaire, you can uncover things about yourself that you knew about and things you didn't know about yourself at any of those levels, depending on how you're asking and what reference point you're looking at. And then that gets turned into numbers, and those numbers signify a specific pattern, a specific organ and gland pattern that can be created into this chain that can be read. So you can read an expression in the chain of numbers, depending on how you look at it. And then that can go through the person's lifetime. So that is the, diving way deep real fast.
Yeah.
It
And
was
you mentioned
created as
there's
a
a
means.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you mentioned there's a a mathematical formula that is set for this. That the
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How that's structured in.
Yeah, basically by using math, using the language of the universe, the thing that connects everything together, that universalizes the system. So it
Yeah.
takes away from being a narrow look, to being as broad as possible. And the numbers signify multiple different things. So on the base level, when we're doing training for SAF, we start at a very base understanding, just so people understand what the numbers represent in the basics for the human.
Mm-hmm.
For example, 1 is thymus, 2 is heart, 3 is colon. But each of those also have a significator like aggression, love, hate, and as well reaction, denial, failed. And this gives us many different ways to look at each number, so that there's lots of different meanings to a single number versus just one thing, like saying, oh, thymus popped up. Okay, that's all we know now. No, we have this 1 popped up, so we can think of it in terms of a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we chain them together, and then that chain together tells us a story, gives us kind of a replay for the person. And it's very individual. So what one thing means to me, what recall I'm going to get off of one number at one position in my life, isn't the same that's going to be for you. It's going to come up. It's your own experience, and you're putting yourself into this questionnaire, the subjective questionnaire. So you're going to get very different results out of the same chain of numbers than I would.
Wow. It's almost like building an astrological chart in the internal sense.
Yeah. Yeah. In a lot of ways, because it's taking the life as you know it, where you're at now, it's taking the whole thing from the past to the present. And astrology does that as a snapshot from when you're born, and then the planets move, and you can kind of assess based on the birth what the person's destiny will be, or whatever, or what they're going through currently. This gives us, it's very much on a recall basis, so it allows us to peer back into our memories, into our experiences. And why is that important? A lot of us cover up trauma or really intense situations that happen to us, positive and negative, but we lose sight of it, and we put a veil in front of it, and we move on, and we live another 10 years, 20 years, 30 years with this veiled experience that is oftentimes forgotten about. The experience of that is like, in our terms of SAF, we look at it as like a little vortex that has been created in space-time for that person. And in that experience, the natural processes of the body, of the person, consciousness, has sucked in all of the different senses, all of the different energy in that area at the time that the thing happened. Let's say it's a car accident. The person is going to be able to recall, once they go back, the music playing on the car, if they were in the car, the smell, the touch of the wheel, if they were driving, the conversation being had right prior. Most of that is all captured in this vortex of time and space for the person, and it traps the energy. And what happens is, 10 years, there may be that same song pops onto the radio, and this whole experience of this car accident is reignited.
Yeah.
But slightly different, because now we're in a different time, space, place. So the experience is now morphed and weaved into the new experience of what's happening at that moment. And there's a mapping that happens with the body, with the electromagnetics of the body, that it creates this web that joins all the way to the present time. So we look at somebody coming in and saying, I have a headache. And 9 times out of 10, it's not the headache that they're actually the headache is the result. It's not
Mm,
the main front issue. It's the main front issue today, but when you get right down to it, it's causal to a car accident or something like that 30 years ago.
yeah. Wow. Wow. Now, what seems to be common conditions that people reveal and come to you for it to seek this program out and some of the services?
So what we do is mainly now train. We train practitioners. Usually they have their own client base
Hmm.
that they already work with clients. And they, of course, will see the gamut depending on what their field of expertise is. It could be homeopathy, acupressure, herbalism, chiropractic, naturopathic doctors. So whoever they see, that is going to be, they're going to know who their main clientele is. But through our case studies in the last 40 plus years, a lot of depression and a lot of hidden things like accidents are kind of common. But if you go into your life and you remember back into some major event, maybe more than one, maybe 6 major events, they could be coming in for any of those 6 major events and just not know it. It could be manifesting as stubbed toe or, sleeplessness or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's in the recall that we find that it's connected to this whole pattern.
Mm.
The operation is to go back and release those events, discharge them, so that is no longer a vortex or a black hole pulling in the light, but is free moving, and awareness, the light of awareness is put into that dark space.
Wow. Have you worked with anybody that wanted to kind of maybe go into like a past life, any traumas within a past life, possibly?
Yeah, not specifically that somebody that wanted to, but the system kind of has it in there that you're
Hmm.
able to track back. You're able to follow the tracks back as far as you possibly can. And a lot of that processing is done obviously in like personal journeying, in a
Hmm.
sense, that you're going to
Yeah.
be going back and seeing the events and looking for impressions, and you're following a chain of events happening, and it's all latent. It's all sitting in your DNA, fully
Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah.
So how far does your DNA go back? It goes before you were human.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can go
Soul
all the way back.
memory.
Yeah, you can go all
Yeah.
the way back. So the beginning of the planet, it depends on how far you want to go back, or
Yeah.
how far you're able to go back. But typically, we're focusing on this current life because that's what we're involved in.
Hmm.
Past stuff comes up, but you'll find that we're very focused on those things that we feel are very personal that happen to us, the here and now, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody goes through traumas. There's some sort of traumas, and some to one person, another person's trauma may not seem that bad, but it
Exactly.
depends on how they handle it. What was the outcome? And then
Right.
later on, it's, they're suffering from some sort of, like you said, headaches or some weird, just crazy, like a PTSD type thing, but they don't know what's triggering it.
Right. Right.
So,
Because we're not in full awareness. We're in, very, very minuscule awareness for the moment. And that
yeah.
makes us very, very able to succumb to different various energies from our past, just our pure experience from our own current life. There's so much, and you'll find even for yourself that if you can do a little bit of delving back into the past of your own life, you'll see that maybe you made a decision when you were really young, 7 or 8, as if that was the only way to handle a situation. And what we're seeing is that situation will come up, and as a new actor, but typically as the same actor, something will spark that reaction
Yeah.
from an initial action that was based when you were 7. So we're just saying, now that you're conscious, now that you're mature, you can look back and say, was that the proper way to react to that situation? And you can go back. It's the clarity of the present, the hindsight factor, where you can go back and reassess that situation, review it, connect the dots, to know that you're not in a vacuum here. This is not an isolated thing. It leads to other things in your life to dispel the charge that it has and clear the lane so that the energy can move smoothly from beginning to end.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm visualizing it as like a feng shui, an energetic feng shui for the body, for the body system, the mind, body, and spirit. All
Yeah, that's
three.
probably pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I sometimes use for myself, just for personal understanding, if your whole existence is a sphere and lots of it is just not going to be looked at and is going to be all this potential, it's a sphere of its own universe, and we're this pinpoint of light that's going down this course. Sometimes it veers left and right, but we're creating kind of like a snail trail as we go, and some of it glimmers, some of it's bright, a lot of it's dull and dulls as we go. The goal, I would say, is to lighten up as much of that sphere as possible. It's just very difficult to do that. But in doing that, we empower so much more of our latent talent and latent power. We bring it into the focus of the now, and we brighten that single pinprick of light that we're just cruising down. We brighten it up so that we can see more and gather more of ourself, so to speak, together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trying to realize who we are, and what our potential is.
Right. Which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody needs that. There's so many people out there that are lost, that just don't know. I wouldn't say tired of life, but they're tired of being lost. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are just lost and they don't know what. They're either in a job that they don't like, or they're in a career that they don't like, or there's something in their life. It's just like,
Yeah.
So.
Well, now I say a lot of us will unconsciously / consciously make a concession, and that's fair as long as you're conscious of the concession.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be aware of the fact that you've made the concession to whatever it might be in an uncomfortable situation for a certain amount of time or an extended period of time. But as long as you're conscious about it, it doesn't get to take all your energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're unconscious, it starts to form its own personality and its own intent and its own desire, and that works against your potential or potentially your own willpower. That's what you want to be careful of. You get this new thing that of the unknown that can outweigh the known.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, does SAF kind of help people answer the question about certain things in their life that they feel uncomfortable about? Like, I can, like, say I'm in a situation, or I'm with somebody, in general, and I don't feel comfortable. There's something wrong. I don't feel right about this. Can this help us help us ask the questions and help us observe better, and to kind of find out what is the underlying reason why we are not comfortable in certain areas of our life?
Yeah, I would say so. That's actually one of the best functions of SAF is I don't know what's going on. Perfect. Excellent. Lay it out. This is SAF in itself is a sorter. It sorts what you know and what you don't know. And it brings to light those things that are attached of the things that are known versus the things that are unknown by intensity. So it does exactly that. This is what's top of mind. Well, that's going to be up front, right? But it's also got all of this extra stuff that's collected. And that's the unknown. So the closer we are to the present, the more known something is, and the further back we go, the less known it is, but also the more anchoring it is. So it is a means of doing exactly that. It finds those things that you don't know, but it works really well when you're seeking. Yeah. So you want to know something, that's where it will be very helpful, because it relies on, it's subjective. It relies on your honesty and your best intent to get the answer. So we say a major complaint is really necessary to run an SAF chain or do a questionnaire, because you want to have something that's kind of a big deal. You can just do a general, where am I at? And that's fine. But you're also going to get kind of a general, where you're at response, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're putting in.
Yeah. Do you have any breakthrough cases that you could share?
I would say that any time that somebody connects that dot, I don't specifically have anything that I can bring up in my own work with SAF, with my own clients, aside from that it does what it's supposed to do in that regard. They have an issue, it gives them the answer. Knowledge is power. The first step is knowing about it. You got to get an answer.
Yeah.
All right. That's a huge thing. What they say in G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle, right? So,
Yeah.
well, we got to have an answer. So once you get the answer, then you have to act on it. And that is up to each individual to do. That's not the only thing. So that would be a kind of a corrective, like, what do I do? The course of action to take. Now, if you're working with somebody that does herbalism, an herbalist, and they prescribe you something, they would give you, I come up with something, Paul Diarco, okay? And that is what they're saying. Okay, this is what you need. Based on this SAF chain, I'm going to say, based on also my intellect in the field of herbalism, I'm going to prescribe you this Paul Diarco. That would be the action. That's acting on this issue that you want cleared. After you do that, then the next thing is almost a given, is to achieve the goal. You have the answer, you now act on it. Now you need to achieve the conclusion, so to speak. You need to resolve the problem. And in the course of action, if you have an answer and you act on it, generally, you may need to run another chain or several chains, but typically you can get an answer, you can act on it, and then the goal would be to achieve a result, to get a resolution. But you have to take it one step further, because we're dealing in a very ethereal realm of energetic energy of the body and whatnot. You need to also acknowledge that these things have all happened. So not to say, you got to know that, like, that car accident did actually cause or result in, through 30 years, present day shoulder pain, obviously, right? But headache. Oh, yeah, okay. How is that all connected? And that acknowledgement of that is the cure, so to speak. And I'm using that very loosely. It's the method to smooth the intensity of the moment out. Oh, that car accident is now, the headache is caused by this car accident 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm going very physical, but my bad dreams are being caused by this car accident. It's all very likely. It all seems like it could, but I could have the same car accident and never have a bad dream. So what works for me might not work for you. It's very individual based. But you need to have that acknowledgement, that congratulations, that there has been an achievement, that there has been actions taken, and that there was an answer given. It's very helpful. Now we do it. We have we have a book called SAF Simplified. It's a fairly thick book, but it's our answer to how does somebody get involved in SAF. You do this for yourself. The questionnaires are free. You can delve into the book, and it gives you all of the different numbers and a breakdown, a very brief breakdown on a stress type of mental emotional formatting. And you can do your own work and delve into this for yourself, which is, one of our ways of spreading the knowledge of the system and helping people become more aware of those things that are acting in their life that they're likely not aware of.
Yeah. Yeah. And people can get the book through the Life Energy Publications, correct?
Yes. Yeah. They can get it lifeenergypublications.com. And I believe we have a lot of books, so it can be kind of, what's that? Amazon?
Is it on Amazon? People can find it on Amazon, or is it exclusive for?
I don't think it is on Amazon.
Yeah,
but that's something I have to do. There we go. The older version, the 2003 version of the same book, is on Amazon, I believe. The newest one, 2019, which is updated and very, very cleanly written, is 2019, I believe, is not on Amazon because it's published from Balboa Press, unless they're putting it on Amazon. And
Yeah.
we have it on Life Energy Publications as well to purchase, but not on Amazon for that one. But the 2003 version is very good. It's what we use for level 1, and we have since 2003 when it became this new method of SAF. It combines levels. There were 32 levels before. It combines the first 6 in the book, so it really gives you more than most people are ready for all at once. But it does it in such a way that's very readable, very down to earth, and very approachable.
Yeah. So there could be practitioners from, any type of discipline out there of holistic practitioners that can implement this in with their current system. Like you said, an herbalist or
yeah, absolutely. Homeopathy was part of one of the things that was wed with SAF was homeopathy. So a lot of homeopathic practitioners, you'll see a lot of our books there's quite a few of them that are based on homeopathy. One of the examples would be that the questionnaire would be the part of the intake.
Yeah.
So a person comes in for their appointment. Part of the intake is the questionnaire so that you can get a chain and pull the data from the chain, get the report, and you can do the reading, the interpretation of the chain during the session.
Yeah.
So that's one method for a lot of different clinicians. That's how they'll do it, is right up front. Others will tally it and input it themselves. Once you know the numbers and you have the system down, it becomes a lot more easy to kind of understand how to read the chain because it's a simple sentence, and how to clear the 3 main points of a chain, which is the lead, the core, and the anchor. How to work with those and how to kind of clear their influence out on the person. But that takes some time, obviously, and that's why we do the training the way we do it.
Yeah. Now, is this like a multi-step system as a client, as something that's being administered to somebody? Is this kind of like a multi-step type system that you integrate through, from start to
Initially
finish,
it was. Yeah, initially it was. And now what we promote is that we want everybody to be able to access, to know what's going on when they're doing a chain, and to learn more about it so that people aren't in mystery. So we encourage practitioners, clinicians that are using SAF to help those that they're helping by building their knowledge. As we look at a lot of mystery as part of the culprit that catches people up. We don't want mystery, so we want knowledge. We want to increase everybody's knowledge. So we promote helping the client learn more in SAF as far as what their numbers mean and how they can work through them. And of course, we want that. But I know that there are some that kind of keep it on the lowdown and they just use it as part of their practice. And that's totally doable as long as they're following the procedures, because we kind of look at the work as similar to being an electrician. You don't want to cross wires. You don't want to do something that's untoward, won't cause any fires. You definitely don't want to charge up a system that's not ready to be charged up. So we empower the practitioners and the clinicians to do exactly what they do, how they want to do it, because that's fully on them. But we also want them to assist the client to learn more about themselves. And in so doing, through the method of SAF, of course, that we want to be able to build the awareness of everybody, period. As a base. And through doing that, knowledge of self is the main goal. But yeah, simple intake form is one way. We do infrared, and this was a hallmark of the early research and discoveries of SAF, and my dad, Joe Scogna, who created all of this in the Life Energy Research Foundation, was the infrared to be able to read, to create this chain of numbers, to be able to read in an objective way a person's, using kind of an acupressure point reference.
Yeah.
And then coordinating that with the numbers to create a chain to read just like the subjective, but from an objective perspective in a very different way. Very controversial in 1983 when this came out, that you could find pain that you could find emotions manifesting
Wow.
on a person through infrared. But that is what we did.
Yeah.
So groundbreaking, huge, pioneering. Now it's a lot more understood and accepted looking forward. But we have a system that you can still do that. It does take a second person. So if you're looking to do your own discovery, your own self work, it's a little hard to do the scans on your face to yourself as of present.
Yeah.
I'm looking to find a way that we can develop a system that would be like a snapshot that would work. But currently we have it that you have to hit each spot and each point
Wow.
to create the chain of numbers. But yeah,
I'm intrigued. I'll have to look into this more. Definitely.
I mean, it's a wild ride.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
now I am trying to put out the archival footage and audio from the 80s when my dad was doing many seminars. He would do seminars for training. He would do sales trainings. All of them are kind of heavy with great information and very interesting way to look at the world. And of course, lots and lots on SAF and how to use it. But there's countless hours. I say countless. There's many, many hours of material that I'm trying to clean up and make sound as good as possible, because a lot of this is very old audio.
Yeah.
So that's going on our YouTube, which is at SAF Training. And we can search SAF Training, and a lot of SAF stands for a lot of things we found. So
Yeah.
get lost in the weeds there. But SAF Training for learning about the system as it was used in the 80s and some of how we're doing it now as well.
Yeah, definitely. You see some evolution coming from it. You see, maybe some new principles and new types of applications and stuff within SAF.
Yeah. A lot of it's been done, and it's going to be hard for me to break new ground in this. But I think that my job is to advance it forward as best I can, knowing what we know, with the new technology. In the early 1980s, we were using an Apple II computer with an attached infrared scanner, and it was a very expensive system. It was started at $7,000 for this Apple II with the programs, right? And you get the books for free, and $7,000, you'd hope so, right?
Right.
It was mainly sold to clinics and doctors and whatnot at the time. And that system went away with the 80s. I mean, Apple IIe, it was gone. And that has been retranslated so that we use a very inexpensive temperature reader for the scans that became very popular during COVID. And, everybody was doing their own temperature reading, right? That's what we used, and still use for the infrared portion of it. So it's exceptionally inexpensive. And we do have a monthly fee for the use of the system that does the reports, the interpretation, and the infrared input. The creating a chain is completely free. But to do the inputs, to pull the reports, we do have a fairly small cost to, what do you call that? Cost, upfront cost for the background to use the reports and the interpretations and whatnot, and to do the infrared inputs.
Yeah, kind of like a subscription on the back end in order to kind of, I wouldn't say like a license to use, but the right to use and be able to.
Yeah, it's kind of a service fee.
Yeah.
So it's if you only want to use it one day, there's a cost for that. If you only want to use it for a week, there's a cost for that. And if you want to use it for a whole year, it's not a subscription that you're just locked in forever. It's just how much do you want to use it? So if you were in an office situation and you're doing the infrared, this is fairly common. You have one client that you're going to be doing the infrared for, the SAF, you'd probably just do the one day.
Yeah.
And, that gets tallied into the cost for the client to see you, basically. Yeah. But if you were going to be seeing lots of clients, or you stack them up, you'd just do more time, or you do a year and you don't have to think about it. And then you can do the reports. It works as a CRM as well, so that they, retains the reports. And you don't see their responses to the individual questions. You only see the results. So it really only means something once interpreted. And it only really means something to the to the client or saphant.
Hmm.
Like the same numbers won't mean the same thing to you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Wow.
it's a very interesting way to look at a person's life. If you're doing self work, it's invaluable because it helps you to delve into those. I mean, for me, I love to investigate my own life. So much things that I've just completely forgotten about that spark off new energy and new connections in time. And I find those by going back and tracking back and getting a keyword or a phrase that will open up a whole section of time for me in my life that I've completely forgotten about. And that, where the value is in that, is of course knowing yourself and empowering your current situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I am definitely intrigued, and I definitely want to definitely look into this a little bit more from my end, and more of self discovery for myself. And hey, never know,
Never know.
start
Yeah.
utilizing it.
Yeah. I mean, again, we try to make it the hurdle to get to it as inexpensive as possible. The chain running is free, and the books are fairly inexpensive.
Yeah.
That work like textbooks, basically.
Yeah. Make it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it easy. So before we wrap up the show, what would you like to give as a takeaway, and where they can find you? Any more information and stuff? Anything upcoming?
Yeah, upcoming, we have a seminar in another week. It depends on when this goes out, but we're doing them monthly seminars that you sign up for. It is going to work as an intro. So it kind of gives you the history, use, and application of SAF. What our goal is to teach the science of life energy. And I feel like that is very important for anyone. The more knowledge we have, the more tolerant we can be to those around us and ourselves, because we can be pretty hard on ourselves as well. I would like to invite everybody to do these seminars as we put them out, to look into more information on our website, which is chock full of tidbits here and there on SAF and life energy. And to, if they're very interested, to reach out to look for more information on training and to look at learning to interpret the chains.
Yeah.
That can all be done at lifeenergypublications.com. We try to make that as a hub where you can go and just kind of access all the different stuff that we're involved in.
Cool. And definitely, I definitely like to let everybody know, definitely check out the website, at lifeenergypublications.com, because the About Us, I was going through the About Us, and it's intriguing seeing the history of it. And yes, it does date back to your father, Joseph. Was it 1940? Yeah, from 1949. When did he actually start implementing this?
Well, that gets a little deep, so I'll try to keep it. I'll try and keep it as surface as possible.
Yeah.
1949. So you're looking at his birth date, and 1975 was kind of like a thesis to find a way to get the answers, symptom awareness formats and formulas, and the math that could be involved in this. And in later years, when he had the infrared, he said that this is like, you've seen the tricorder on Star Trek.
Yeah.
That's what we have. We have the tricorder. We're scanning, we're finding, we're uncovering, we're releasing these energies. That's what we're doing. The holistic tricorder.
Yeah.
We're able to go in and find these things out now.
That's cool.
Because that's what he wanted to do. So 75 was really the beginning, and it manifested as a system in 1980. But yeah, the About Me section is very full, and I'm still putting more on there, of course, but there's more to add to it. And then of course resources for the YouTube. Yeah.
True. Cool.
Yeah.
Nic, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing this with us. I'm going to dive more into it. And, if there's anything upcoming especially later in the summer, mid to late summer stuff, let me know. And,
all right.
And yeah.
I think
Awesome.
there will be. I think there will be. Looking at doing another version of the Project Isis book, which is all about the human electricity and looking at the perspective of the person holistically from an electrical perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be sometime late summer. So yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. It sounds great. And thank you for having me. Really
You
appreciate
are
it.
very welcome. Very welcome. Yeah. Actually, how did you find out about the podcast? Because I didn't see, because I've been getting a lot of my stuff through Podmatch, but then I noticed I was like, I was looking through, I was like, I don't see anything in Podmatch. How did you learn about the seance?
Well, I have been looking for avenues to get the message out, so to speak, and I did a search, and that's how I came upon it. I did a little bit of digging, but
Yeah.
I listened to a few shows, I listened to a couple of the shows,
Yeah.
and then I said, "This is perfect."
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Google.
Yeah, I'm intrigued myself about how some people kind of stumble upon the podcast, word of mouth, or it's like,
Right.
I just did a search and it's like, oh wow, look at this.
Yeah, because I'm wanting to delve into the conscious aspect. I think my search was conscious radio shows or something like that.
Yeah.
So you're going to hit
the
a lot of those
metadata.
keywords. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're going to hit a lot of those keywords there.
Yeah.
And then I saw that the subject matter was perfect. So I thought, excellent.
And it is. It is.
And diverse.
Absolutely.
You go through a lot of different topics.
Many different when I first started this, it was like from paranormal to talking about all the paranormal stuff, but then getting into consciousness studies.
It always goes there. It always goes there.
Yeah.
It has to. It has to it always ends up in consciousness.
Exactly. The mysteries of the universe, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody wants to know the meaning of life.
Right. Right. I you know what? I did a lot of searching. I found the meaning for myself, and it is just to live it. And it was like, well, that's really simple, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, that's just the meaning. The meaning is just to live it. Just go with it. Okay.
Yeah. Trying to dig out as many tools from the toolbox as possible, and that's what
Right.
this show's about. It's a toolbox for people to kind of come in and say, okay, is this tool good enough? Is that tool good enough? And
right. And it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
What's going to fit for them, or to find that there's other people that are going through the same kind of thing. I think that's very valuable for people too.
Yeah.
To get answers. Absolutely. It's all about getting answers.
Exactly. Nick, thank you again, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Again.
Most definitely.
And for those, definitely check out www.lifeenergypublications.com. And other than that, go cool. I will see you all next week. Thank you for listening or watching Conscious Radio Network's The Seance. Until then, we will see you next week.